Have you ever wanted to learn a new language, how to draw, or even how to code, but felt like the goal was just too unachievable or you simply just didn't have time? What if I told you you can learn any skill in 7 days? In this video, I'll share with you how I taught myself digital marketing and video editing while working full-time as a doctor. I'll also show you my 7-day self-study routine at the very end of the video, so make sure you keep watching. Why learn a new skill? First, this is the most important question to ask yourself. And remember the answer, because this is the reason why you will succeed or flop. I'll tell you why later. Whether you want to learn a new skill for a new hobby, or whether you want to improve your job prospects, the process to get there is exactly the same. I believe that upskilling is pretty important, especially in this day and age. The way I see it is it's pretty similar to investing, right? You need to diversify your portfolio. The same goes with your skill sets. We saw how terrible job security was during the pandemic, when you rely on one skill as your sole income. Here are 6 tips to study any subject fast. Step number 1 is to decide your resolve. I mentioned before that remembering why you want to learn a new skill is super important, because the reality is we all live busy lives. It's tough to fit in extra things to our already really full days. So your resolve is the only thing that will keep you going until you master your new skill. In my toughest month of working as a doctor, I spent hours and hours after work self-studying things like affiliate marketing, SEO, and copywriting. I still remember my colleague Sahan came up to me and asked me why. You're a doctor. If you want more money, you can just pick up extra shifts. Now, my why isn't quick money. My why is passive income and choice of freedom. This was the mindset that kept me building new skill sets outside of medicine. What's your why? Let me know in the comments below. Step number 2, find the best teacher. Now, there are so many resources out there, no matter how niche down the skill you want to learn is. Whether it's paid or free, none is better than another, except maybe textbooks. Don't do those. The best way to go about this is literally pick one resource and stick to it. It's easy to go into that analysis paralysis mode where you're out trying to find the best of the best, but the truth is, as a beginner, it makes no difference what you actually choose to pick. They're all going to be equally effective for learning the basics. So spend no more than 1 hour to pick. Step number 3 is to schedule to learn. This means you actually time block the study session into your calendar. I use Google Calendar to time block all my self-study sessions. Check out the video here if you want to learn the best way to time block. If you only talk about learning and don't actually make time physically on your calendar to do it, you realize that other things will fill up your free time pretty quickly. And next minute, you realize that you haven't opened that $300 online course you bought 3 weeks ago. Step number 4 is to limit your learning duration. Now, Parkinson law states that the total amount of work will expand to fill the time allocated for its completion. It's basically saying that if you allocate 1 day to finish your essay, you'll stretch it out to finish the essay in 1 day. But if you allocate 1 hour to do that essay, you also spend exactly 1 hour finishing the exact same task. Now, 7 days to study any new skill is plenty to learn the basic building blocks of any topic. Any shorter feels pretty unrealistic with my work schedule, and any longer, you lose your fire. My mum would say, strike while the iron is hot. Hey, if you're finding this video helpful, make sure you smash that like button. Step number 5 is to learn just enough. There's this notion where people say you have to dive deep into the subject to know it better. But for a beginner, I disagree with this. I think that the bird's eye view approach is way more effective for learning new things at the start. For example, if I were to learn the Japanese language again, I look at the subject as a whole from the top and break it down into manageable chunks. From my bird's eye view perspective, learning Japanese includes learning hiragana, katakana, kanji, grammar, vocab, basic greetings. I'd focus on hiragana, vocab, and basic greetings as a beginner. This is enough to get you understanding anime dubs and surviving in Japan. Don't get too hung up with the minor details. You forget it anyway. You'll find yourself needing to search it up as you hone your skills. The goal is to learn enough to start using it. This leads to point number 6. Step number 6 is to apply the skill as soon as possible. The Pareto principle, or otherwise known as the 80-20 rule, states that 80% of the outcomes are derived from 20% of the causes. Basically, you should invest in what gives you more bang for your buck. When it comes to self-study, application gives you the highest ROI, or return on investment. Just like studying school materials, you understand something better once you apply it and start answering practice questions. So please, please, please don't spend 80% of your time just passively absorbing from your course and never applying. That's a real waste of your precious time. Learning a new language? Use Duolingo. Start testing yourself. I'm not sponsored, by the way. If you're coding, start experimenting with basic coding instructions. Before I share with you my 7-day self-study routine, make sure you hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. This is my 7-day plan where I taught myself how to start a YouTube channel while working full-time as a doctor. So I always learn new things on a Friday, because then I know I have a whole 2 days of the weekend to do the bulk of the learning. And then you can also see that here on Friday is prep day, which is actually really, really important. This is where I look at the course roughly and plan out what I can do realistically in the next week according to my work or study schedule. Then the rest of the week is pretty simple formula to follow. You learn a new thing and then you apply it straight after, and you rinse and repeat for different elements of the new skill, and then by the end of the week I had a video I can post to YouTube. If you want to learn how to stay consistent with your learning and not burn out, make sure you check out this video next.